English translation 322nd contact. Thursday, 14th of March, 2002, 06.12 hours.
You are here very early again today, dear friend. However, be heartily welcomed anyway.
It is a requirement that I see you so early. Because the thing is,
Unpleasant, but we already knew on the 17th of December that everything would turn out so. Besides, you also said during your visit on the 8th and 18th of November that unfortunately everything was going to turn out like this. I had to come to terms with it, whether I wanted to or not, even though it hurt like hell, and that is still the case now and will remain so for a long time. The will of the human being is the kingdom of heaven, and you cannot simply talk him or her out of it or take it away, not even with logical explanations and arguments. If a human being simply wants to see everything as it suits and pleases him or her at the moment and is indifferent to reality and the opinions of other human beings, and prefers untruth to real truth, then unfortunately all is lost for rationality to prevail after all and stand by the effective truth. So every human being who does not allow themselves to be instructed by truth and reality must go their own dark and destructive ways, without being helped in any wise. For they reject all help out of obstinacy and self-conceit as well as self-importance and many other negative things and shortcomings, and thinks that he or she is the glory itself. I wrote a letter on the 2nd of January to clarify the matter. But there was no response, so I will have to write another one, as everything is now obviously becoming a group matter, as a result of the untruths that have been made public.
you avoid mentioning the name. I think I understand you in this respect.
I feel the need to simply express myself in general terms. But you said earlier, if I may end the subject now and come to something else, that what was said was only a minor matter and that what was actually important was something else. But you interrupted yourself without saying what you actually wanted to say. Obviously, you wanted to hear an answer from me first.
Oh, of course. Excuse me, please. I actually forgot about that, because I am so preoccupied with the whole thing, and I cannot understand it with the best will in the world. So now I will not let myself be distracted by it anymore and present you with the facts for which I have to see you so urgently. However, everything is to remain a confidential conversation between us so that it will not be mentioned officially in any conversation report. You should also keep what I have explained to you as the first thing out of the written report of the conversation, since the explanation was and is also confidential and only intended for you.
Self-evidently.
The whole thing will probably take until around noon. Before we have talked through and worked through everything, if you can take this time and are not too tired since you have hardly slept for 2 hours.
That is no problem for me. So go ahead and shoot. If it is still enough later on, then I would like to ask a few more questions.
That will probably be possible. But now listen and see this material here which we have to work through. Let us start with,
So was that the last material, or do we have more to edit?
that was all and there is enough for today. Besides, the time is very advanced. As I see on your timepiece there, it has already become 10:47 hours in the meantime.
The timepiece there is quite simply a clock. But is there still enough for 2 or 3 questions?
Of course.
Now then, you told me, when I do not know anymore, that you are working intensively on the clarification of the crop circle phenomena, because you have come across things that in this respect go far back in time. You said that the so-called crop circles had appeared in all past centuries. These pictograms and diagrams, etc., as they are also called, are said to have been conjured up in rape fields, cornfields, and meadows, even in medieval and ancient times. According to your explanations, however, you play are and never bothered about this. On the one hand, because there was no interest on your part in it, and on the other hand, because you were of the opinion that the figures in the fields were purely works made by Earth humans. That was even still seen by you in the 80s in such a wise, for which there was also sufficient reason. So Quetzal took me with him to England once, where I was able to observe how different people, individually or in groups, made crop circles or pictograms. According to your explanations, which you made a few years ago, other powers than those of Earth humans are supposed to be involved in the creation of the works, and it is exactly these powers that you wanted to get to the bottom of. Since then, a few years have passed, but you did not give me any more explanations. You just remained silent. Have you not gained any new knowledge, or are such knowledge to remain a secret for us Earthlings?
There is a whole range of new knowledge, but for the time being these still fall within the scope of our directives, which do not yet allow us to release the relevant knowledge to Earthlings. Besides, we have not yet clarified everything. But this much I can say, that besides the very many banal crop circle fakes, which since the 20th century even appear worldwide and of course are also constructed by Earth humans, also since ancient times energy crop circles, that is to say, energy pictograms, as we call them, are given, which are based on sources, which we are not allowed to name yet according to our directives, because Earth humans have to find the solution of the riddle by progressive research and knowledge by themselves. If we were to openly reveal the knowledge we have gained, then we would violate our directives and, in addition, would negatively influence the course of evolution of earthly humanity, which, however, must never be in our mind and actions. So the investigations and research for the achievement of results and for all knowledge must be carried out and advanced by Earth humans themselves.
Nice mess. I thought that you would reveal the secret now. Could you at least tell me what kind of energy sources these crop circles or diagrams and pictograms, etc. are? How are these energy sources created, and where do they come from? Are there purely earthly powers behind them, such as earthly magnetic energies? Are there any extraterrestrial intelligences involved, or do extraterrestrial energies simply play a role in this?
You are asking very profound questions, dear friend, which actually embarrass me because I'm not even allowed to give an evasive answer, but only an absolutely negative one, in order not to violate our directives. I am sure you understand that, so I do not think I need to make any further statements in this regard. You yourself know how it is when you are bound by certain directives, which you cannot break or simply circumvent of your own free will. Because, on the one hand, the preservation of your own honor depends on it, and, on the other hand, the welfare of many depends on it.
I thought, but no, I do not want to lead you up the garden path. But if you are not allowed to say anything officially, is there at least the possibility to simply explain the whole context to me unofficially, if I give you my word that I will keep quiet about it?
Your word means security enough that nothing will ever be said from your mouth to other Earth humans if I give you an appropriate and comprehensive explanation. So hear then what the actual connections and facts of the crop circle phenomena are.
Had I not heard the explanation from your mouth, I would doubt its authenticity. But let us not talk about it any further, otherwise perhaps too much will be said after all.
And that should be avoided.
Right, but tell me, in relation to various unknown flying objects, UFOs, which have been appearing all over the world for decades, even at the present time, and whatever will be preserved for the future, are you allowed to say something about them if you do not touch the previous explanations?
You should also keep silent about this because things could become apparent which again fall within the scope of our directives.
Of course, how can I? But what about the Earth Future's related flying objects that are not related to your explanations?
We should not talk openly about that either, even if these issues do not affect our directives. The reason for this lies in the Earth future, from which the flying objects you mentioned come.
And what about bioorganic flying objects and the Skrill? Should we not mention anything more about them in the future?
That would be advisable, yes. Everything is overblown with regard to extraterrestrial flying objects and extraterrestrial human life forms among the terrestrial human beings, whereby either fear and terror are stirred up or everything is mocked. But now, dear friend Edward, I think that it is time that we end our conversation and I go back to my other duties. Greetings from all.
Just a moment, please. What about Quetzal's answer regarding meditation?
You will receive his instructions later this month, but no later than the week of your meeting. Now farewell, my friend.
Thank you, and also goodbye. And of course, my best regards to all.